Hi there, welcome back to Rovery Gardens. I want to quickly show you something that you've probably heard of before, and that's the Chelsea Chop. Now the Chelsea Chop coincides with the Chelsea Flower Show, which is happening now, and it's used on some herbaceous perennial plants in order to delay their flowering and for them to grow at a lower height and to grow more bushy, healthy plants. Now it's not a method I use on all herbaceous plants, but there are certain candidates, certain favourites, which I really like to use it on, and this perennial sunflower being one. This perennial sunflower can grow and flower up to 2 meters, so the flowers get lost far too high. When the wind and the rain happens, hits them, they just fall over, they flop, and they get messy. I've got to support them, and it just looks a bit scruffy. So if I clip certain clumps of this sunflower, it will flower later and at a lower height, so it's much more manageable. There are other plants which really like this technique. Sedums are a really good candidate, penstemons, heleniums, phlox. There's a really good group of herbaceous perennial plants which, if you Chelsea Chop, you'll just push the flowering further down the season. And actually what you can do sometimes is cut half a plant, leave the other half, so you'll get succession flowering. So it's just a method of making the flowering season and your plants more manageable and more enjoyable in your garden. Not all plants, not all herbaceous plants like this technique. Things like irises and peonies, don't touch those. I always think, if in doubt, leave it. It's a technique that is a bit indulgent, but for certain things it can really help. So I've got a lovely clump of perennial sunflower here. Now, as I've said, if I leave this, it'll just get too high. So I've got a pair of shears, best way to do it, get into the clump and just chop it back. I always go about half, so I chop the clump back by about half. Don't go too low. So I just get in there, and you can see I've reduced it. This will branch out, bush out, and flower about head height. Whereas this stuff I've left, you can see I've left a few clumps that will grow far too high. So I could do the whole clump, but actually it's nice to mix it up. So if you've got herbaceous plants, double check, and if it's a plant that is compatible for it, the Chelsea Chop is a really good way of prolonging your flowering season and just tidying up your borders so the plants become much more kind of compact, dense, and more manageable in your gardens.